Hello, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Bite Size Cybercrime, the podcast where we discuss all things cybersecurity. This week, though, we're going to be traveling back to 1999 and talking about one of the most infamous viruses to exist and cause chaos on the early internet, the Melissa virus. It's been a while since I've talked about cybersecurity history, even though it's something I really enjoy doing, and the Melissa virus is often cited as being one of the most destructive and expensive viruses to exist. The Melissa virus was created by David L. Smith in March of 1999, who released it through a compromised AOL account by posting to an internet news group for adult content. A news group is not exclusive to news, but it was basically a repository for messages posted by internet users within Usenet, which is a worldwide discussion system available on computers. This was kind of like the predecessor to internet forums. Both Usenet as a whole and newsrooms have mostly fallen into obscurity, but believe it or not, there are still some active groups. But anyways, what exactly was this virus that was posted to these news groups? The Melissa virus was a macrovirus, which is a type of virus that takes advantage of macros in Microsoft Office products. A macro is similar to a scripting language. It can be used to automate tasks in Microsoft Office products. A lot of malware, even today, takes advantage of macros. We'll see them in Outlook, Word, and actually, more recently, in OneNote files, even PDFs. So although Microsoft has done its best to strike a balance between the convenience of macros and security issues that can come from them, they do still occasionally bring up problems even today. As I've said in many episodes, if there is a way to write code, there is a way to write malware, and macros, those simple, are not an exception. The virus was spread as an email titled Important Message From, and then the user's name, with the body text, "Here's that document you asked for, don't show anyone else," with the winky face emoticon, semicolon, parentheses. There was, of course, an attached document, which was a Word document ambiguously titled list.doc. Upon opening this document, there is an actual list of several adult websites and login credentials to access premium content on them. Of course, this is a virus, though, so it then emails itself to the first 50 people in your contacts list. The virus spread rapidly, slowing down email systems that were overloaded with the virus emailing itself out en masse, and it even managed to spread to the corporate world, with an estimated 250 organizations reporting infections, including Microsoft, Intel, and even the United States Marine Corps. And given the content of what is being emailed out and its origins, it was probably pretty embarrassing to have that kind of adult content email itself to your friends, family, and coworkers. Yikes. An estimated 1 million accounts were affected by the virus, and thankfully it was contained within a couple days. But at the time, it was the fastest spreading email worm. And the question is why? What enticed people to just click on this random list they were emailed? And there's several good answers to this. The ambiguity of the message helps a lot. Even though it's from a specific type of website, the content of the email body is very general. Just saying, here's that document you asked for, don't show anyone else. That could apply to a lot of things besides adult content. It can be some hot gossip, it can be some secret project, it could be blackmail, it could be all sorts of fun stuff. The virus also automatically addressing the recipient of the email gives it a bit more trust. After all, it's not just saying, "Hello, user," like some phishing emails these days tend to do. And the fact that it's coming from someone in your contacts list makes it seem more trustworthy. Would your friend be sending you something to mess with you? I mean, maybe, depends on your friend, but probably not. It's not even a fake account that just looks like theirs, it's their email account. Of course, we're all aware of email compromises today, and there's nothing unusual about it. I've been messaged on other platforms as well by accounts of friends that had clearly been compromised and trying to phish me too. And this isn't to say this absolutely never happened before the Melissa virus, but it was a lot less widespread, and cybersecurity in general was just not on a lot of people's minds. In the aftermath, David L. Smith was eventually caught and arrested in his home in New Jersey. He was tracked because the Microsoft Word document he used to write the virus had a globally unique identifier that was able to be traced back to him. How much damage this worm caused is pretty hard to measure in my opinion, and this may be controversial, but I think a lot of older malware tends to overestimate the damages caused as a way of making examples out of people. But Smith was specifically accused of causing $80 million worth of damages through the disruptions that the Melissa virus caused. This is including lost productivity in the workplace, the government, and in personal computers. Later the same year, December 10th, 1999, Smith pleaded guilty to second-degree computer theft and a federal charge of damaging a computer program. In court, Smith stated he had no idea this much damage would be caused and claimed he'd actually included features in the Melissa virus designed to prevent substantial damage. Though it's unclear what those features were and how they worked or if they even existed in the first place, I think he was probably referring to limiting the amount of people it emails itself to just 50 in your contacts list, rather than your entire contacts list. But that doesn't necessarily mean a lot when it's being sent to millions of people around the world who are all opening it. Smith was ultimately sentenced to 20 months in prison and fined about $5,000, which is actually pretty low compared to what the maximum sentence was, which is jail time between 5 to 10 years and a $150,000 fine. As part of the plea agreement, Smith actually agreed to take the maximum penalty, although based on a combination of the severity of the incident and Smith's willingness to cooperate with law enforcement, he was given what was a considerably lighter sentence. I do believe Smith meant to release the virus and cause some form of chaos initially, though I also think he was unaware it would cause as much damage as it did. I think it was probably meant as a prank against a certain demographic, but was rather uncontrollable in the way it spread, and things just spiraled out of control. Not to say he had no way of knowing this could happen. After all, the Morris worm, which I've also done an episode on, a decade prior to this case, had similarly spiraled out of control due to the unpredictable nature of computer worms that can just spread themselves. I think he just didn't know how to contain the virus, or maybe assumed the cap of 50 emails every time it was opened wasn't enough to slow emails down so much. Either way, the virus was certainly a learning experience, probably for both Smith and the rest of the world. Thank you for listening to this week's history episode of Bite-Sized Cybercrime. If there's an incident that happened in the past that you think I should discuss, please let me know. I do have some on my list, and I've talked about a lot of high-profile cases and the lessons we can learn from them, even though they didn't happen very recently. And until next time, stay secure.